Hi everyone, this is Amanda from Cubbyhole Crafts and I'm doing a tutorial tonight on using Digis and how to weld them to a background. So here goes. First I'm going to start with an image that I've got. I'm just going to enlarge her. This image is Skate With Me and it was created by Emma Cannings. And now what we want to do is go to the blue and yellow box here, which is your trace tool, and click on select trace area and move the bar in your high pass filter right to the end and then click on trace, and this gives us a copy of the first image. Now we don't need this image, so we're going to right click and click delete. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to cut and draw this image, so when you're putting it onto a card then you can colour it in any medium that you want to use. Obviously with this method you can use any Digi-stamps that you have, but if you do like this one you want to visit Emma Canning on Facebook. So this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to zoom in so I can see. Now we're going to right click and release the compound path because we want to separate the back layer to the actual drawing itself. So now I can zoom back in. I want to draw a box around here because we want to regroup it. So you right click and group, right click and make your compound path. Now I like to change the colour, so you go to your line colour tool up here and I'm going to change it to black, and this will help you in a little while when we're putting them back together. So now I want to weld this to a background of some sort, and for this demonstration I've actually used the 09 cut-ups, which if you put in your search bar, Google or whichever search bar that you use, 09 cut-ups, you should be able to find it. Now for this one I'm using capital lock and hitting W, and that gives me a nice scallop. Obviously again you can use any image that you want or that you might already have. Now I'm actually going to turn this into an oval, and I want to resize it just so the image sits nicely in it. Draw a box around, right click and weld, and that gives us the cutting out background, and it's all one piece. Now I've actually made up the actual card, and at the end of the video there'll be a link so you can actually go and see it either on Emma Canning's Facebook site or on my own blog. And then if you want to make up this actual design you'll be able to see what it looks like when it's actually finished. Now I want to change the colour back to the cut colour, and in the finished card we're using a reverse image, so we're going now to the replicate tool and click on mirror right, which gives us two separate images, and we also want to do that with the Digi. There we go. Now I also want a separate image because I need the outside layer. So I'm just going to duplicate left, right click and release compound path. And we don't need this bit here. So we'll delete that. Now I don't want this to be the exact same size as the actual image, so I'm going to click on it and go to the little red circle down here, which is the offset key, and I'm going to take that down to around about 100. And there we go, and hit apply. Now it's the outside that I'm actually going to keep and use. So I'm going to right click on this one and delete. And I'm going to zoom back in so I can see everything. And I'm just going to take these further up for a moment. And now I want to make the actual card base. So go to the rectangle tool, and you want that to be 10 inches by 7 inches. There we go. As you can see, this is a little bit too big for what we want it to be, but we need everything to change to the correct size together. So we're going to draw a box around all the elements here and make them a bit smaller. I'm just going to check. Yes, that's better. So bring this back down. Now you're going to need 2 of this. So again, duplicate it and put it to the side. And then we're going to draw another rectangle which is 5 by 7, but just a little bit smaller, so on the finished card it'll actually have a border all the way around, and that's great. So I'm going to put that to the side as well. Now I'm going to group these two and make a compound path. Now for the finished card, we'll actually need these lined up. So put that back into place where it should sit on your finished card. And I'm going to make a slight alteration. Just bear with me. That looks more central. I'll repeat again. Right click group, right click make compound path. And now I shall line that up and put the second scalloped oval over the top. So when they're cut out, these two scallop ovals will actually meet exactly, and this will give you the border around the edge. So what we want to do is remove the larger rectangle and draw a box around these two, and again right click, group, right click and make a compound path. So this now gives you card elements. as you can see. So we'll put those aside and we'll get to the fun bit. So bring these back onto the main mat. And we're going to place the Digis back within their cutting shape. And zoom in so you can see it's a little bit better. There we go. Now we don't want to group these, or else you won't be able to draw the images separately to the actual cutout design. So now what we want to do is go to the scissor tool, and at the moment you can see it's all set out to cut, and obviously we don't want these bits cut in. So what we want to do is click on the outer edge and hit no cut, repeat, and then leave these two images as they are. And now we're actually going to draw these images with the Cameo. So you need to check your cut settings. Now I use 12 by 12 mat, and I tend to use an A4 sheet and in landscape mode, so that's at the top of the mat. And then go to your cut blade setting sign and click on your sketch pen. Now you want to send that through cut through the Cameo, and when it's finished drawing, don't take the mat out, leave it in place. Then what you want to do is come back to the images, go back to the scissor tool, click on the drawing and click no cut. And then on the scallop edge, hit cut. And it will now cut the background out. So go back to your settings, put your blade in, use the settings that's correct for the type of thickness you're using in card, and then hit cut. And that'll cut these out. Now once you've done these, you want to cut these elements out as well. So you do those separately to each. And that's basically how you can use your Digistamps. And any fonts that are pictures, you can do the same with those. And it's a great way of getting more out of your Cameo. And it's something I've just recently started doing, and I find it's very addictive. And again, the lovely Emma Canning gave me permission to use her lovely image, and we'll leave the details on the screen to where you can get in touch to actually look at the finished card. Thank you very much for your time. Bye now. He looks coloured in now. So now I'm going to draw a box round and group him.